like really positive mindset. That's something that we have to work on every day.
Oh,
And it is
totally.
interesting, like our stories are so parallel in the fact that I suffered from an eating disorder from like 18 to 25, 6. I mean, you're always kind of recovering
Yeah.
from an eating disorder. But when I had Eva, it was like, boom, that was my catalyst to say, I know I didn't do this for myself, but now I have this young woman, baby, but I have this little girl that I have to model healthy behavior for, and I have to model body positivity. And that was the huge push that again led me into yoga and started my transformation. But the power of our children, and when we become mothers, and now we're like, that is a superhuman power that gives us so much strength that maybe we didn't have before.
I love that you said that because I feel like, and you could probably agree to it. I feel like my sons have changed me before they even arrived, and like, I feel like they forced me, like, especially last year being pregnant during the heat of the pandemic, I was like, okay, I got to keep my stress down. I started experimenting with tapping and doing more acupuncture and more, and I feel like our kids make us better people before we even and I think when you're
Absolutely.
open to that self-reflection, and that observation, it can be really magical.
I love that. I love that. What are your best tips for moms to feel confident in their bodies? And I've noticed, like, we as moms, either pre or post baby, we disconnect from our physical body. We don't necessarily like what we see. And usually 10 times out of 10, a woman struggled with body dysmorphia or body image issues, or they just don't, like the skin they're in. What are your tips for starting to feel more confident in the skin that you're in your own body?
It's funny because as I explore this more and more, it's very similar to the tips I would have given my younger self now postpartum. Stop the comparing. Um, be around people that speak about themselves positively, right? And when I look back at, like, some of the friendships I had, and we're all going through our growing pains, but if you're with a group of girls that are like, oh, I hate this about myself and I hate that, you're naturally going to adopt those behaviors. So, be observant of the relationships you make and the information you take in on social media, or the conversations you're having in front of your kid. There's so many little tweaks. And again, this is not an overnight process, but I have found that, the more open I am to that too, and I feel like as a yogi, you'll get this too, the more open I am to this too, the universe has kind of like removed some of the negativity that was in my life that I didn't even realize was there. And then I've seen a shift and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? So I think it's just being open to change and being open to new people, new resources, that can lift you up. I mean, there's a lot out there, but when you're used to the grind and used to your regular rigmarole, it's hard to be open to good stuff that can make you feel your best version of yourself.